asking.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, you will probably love Ayoade on Ayoade, a book by Richard Ayoade exploring the work of Richard Ayoade. Is that correct, yeah. Richard Ayoade? It is. Yeah. How do you describe this book to people?
Well, you know, it is a joke. The fact that it is so... Yeah. I labour that joke.
No, it is very funny. It is very funny.
It's, we've got our first quote. It's not meant to be a serious interview with myself. The idea is, I thought it would be funny that I could be treated with the same reverence as kind of great directors who are interviewed at the end of their careers, like Orson Welles or Scorsese, and you get these huge interview books asking them about the craft. And I thought it would be funny, the idea of me being asked, not knowing anything, having no real great achievements, trying to sort of talk about my legacy now, seemed a funny idea to me.
But have some people bought this thinking it's going to be an autobiography, kind of, you know, Richard Ayoade's a small boy and...
No one as yet has bought it.
It is out now. It is out now. It is possible to buy it.
A lot of people have said they might.
There's been a lot of interest.
Which for me is as good as an actual purchase. Yeah.
But so, to explain it, what's the best... could you read a bit out or something?
I could read, yes.
Is that a good idea?
Well, essentially, it's a bunch of jokes themed around film. That could be a description of it. I can read some.
OK, read a bit out, and we'll get a flavour.
Also, OK, so in it, I interview myself throughout the book. And it's, you know, there's some dramatic scenes. There's a speedboat chase at some stage. And in this, the interviewer version of me, the you of me,
yes,
if, as it were, asks this question. So I'll do a slightly lower voice for me, less nasal. I'll back it off. Do you feel your work is easy to label?
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not at all. That's why people try to label it. They can't pin it down, so they want to put a label on it. I think people who label should themselves be labelled. They should be labelled as labellers with a little label. And then someone should put a pin in them. I don't like being labelled or pinned. I won't allow it. Do you like being labelled? I don't think so. Do you want to put a label on this? Ayoade leans over and gently kisses me on the cheek. Our eyes meet. The kiss becomes full, mouth-based, probing and deep. We end up making love. When I wake up, Ayoade is gone. I have wet myself. That didn't happen.
Sort of did.
Well, the book's a love story with myself.
But is it weird being on a chapter like this, selling the book? Because one of the things in the book is how kind of silly interviews are.
Yes, I'm not a brilliant salesperson of anything to do with me. OK. Which is a suboptimal position to put both of us in currently. And I must apologise. I mean, really, primarily to you.
Richard Ayoade, you had a kind of weird experience where, in the IT crowd,
sure,
you thought you were playing a character.
Well, I did a lot of research for that part, where I play a geek. I went online, and that was it. Also, Graham, who wrote it, he said, you know, I've written a part, it's for the nerdiest person in the world. I thought of you. And so that was that, really, yeah. There were no voices. I think...
Well, it would have been your own voice.
Yeah, I said, do you want me to do a voice to be the nerdiest person? He went, no, just yours. So that was it.
But Moss, Moss is one of those characters that does delight people, and even this Halloween, so people were dressing up as Moss from the IT crowd, and you must have seen this picture. There was a little girl. Do you know this?
Well, look, it's a cheap costume. It's a check shirt.
Oh no! Don't dash her dreams.
I will not.
This is a little girl in America, and she's a big fan. And for Halloween, she went as Moss. Oh. Look at that! Look at the watch. She's got the computer, the calculator watch and everything.
Yes.
That's good, right?
The emotional range is too large, though. You need to kind of dial it back a bit. I also spoke to her. I said, you've got to get there.
Because Richard Ayoade has written a book. Yes.
Wow. Thank you.
Loving the books.
Wow. And if you all look under your seat, there's nothing there.
Now, it's called Ayoade on Top. And
yes.
Before we talk about it, I'm going to say, because it's true, it is a really funny book. I say that because it may not be initially apparent when you start talking about what it's about.
Yes. Thank you for preempting my poor salesmanship. Because I tend to put people off anything that's to do with me. So, yeah, well, you're very kind to say that.
It is very funny, but now you need to tell people what it's about.
OK, and let me do some damage now. So, to say it is about a Gwyneth Paltrow film called View from the Top, in which she plays a stewardess.
This is the poster.
This is the poster.
Have you all seen that film?
Have you seen this film?
Is it true?
I saw it. No, it's a real film. I saw it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a real film.
I haven't seen it.
Well, buckle up.
Do I need to see it?
Literally.
To read it?
Literally. You do not need to... If you've seen any film, you have seen this film.
Oh,
It is very similar to all films. Gwyneth Paltrow plays a blue-collar worker. I don't know what research she did. Maybe she went into Whole Foods once. And she dreams of becoming an air stewardess. She becomes one. That's the film. But here's the dilemma. Can she be an air stewardess and maintain a loving relationship with Mark Ruffalo?
oh yeah.
No.
Oh.
No. The demands of being an air stewardess are too onerous.
Mark Ruffalo?
She's got to hand out salty nuts. There are little blowy things she's got to demonstrate. It's a nightmare. So they break up for a while. What should she do? You're literally the opposite of on the edge of your seat.
I'm sorry.
You're so far. You're like this. You're like, stop telling me the story. Stop it. She manages to reconcile with Mark Ruffalo.
Oh.
Happy ending?
Despite the salty notes.
No. The salty nuts are an attraction. And then at the end, it is a huge gun battle.
What?
No, it's not. She
This
bends down and kisses him.
But this is essentially a sort of academic reading of it, as if it's a classic.
Yes, I saw this film with my wife. That's not a joke. Someone chose to marry me. That is possible that someone would choose that. I saw this film with my wife, and I was so haunted by this film that it's taken me 3 years to exercise it from my system. And I've gone through the book in forensic detail, explaining why it's so important, and I've interwoven it with things from my life. It really is so important to give this film the respect it deserves. Because people haven't seen it, people aren't discussing it. Can you believe this is the first book about this film? The first one.
It's an atrocity.
People aren't taking it seriously, Graham.
It's a whole book.
And we need to have a conversation about this film.
But also, as you say, you do weave in other things. There's a beautiful evocation of your childhood Christmases in Ipswich.
Yes. And they celebrate Christmas in Ipswich to this day. They still do. My mother liked the house very clean for Christmas. We would have to clean everything before presents were given out, which was on Christmas Eve. My mother was Norwegian. But it really was a ruse just to really amp up the housework. And she baked a lot of biscuits, Christmas biscuits, which I found out aren't a thing. No, she just
When you say
brought...
biscuits, do you mean biscuits or,
I
or
needed
do you mean
energy.
cookies?
Cookies.
No,
Cookies.
oh, cookies.
Okay, there, okay.
You're on my turf now, Chadwick.
I'm just...
Biscuit.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand what you mean. Because we put out biscuits for Santa Claus.
OK.
Okay, yeah. Well, we call them cookies, though.
I needed the biscuits to have the energy to clean the house.
Can I just ask, does Gwyneth know about it?
Does Gwyneth know about this?
Yeah.
She's not emailed me as yet. But I don't know. She may be, you know, in the middle of a cleanse. We don't know.
Very good.